welcome to my crash course in photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process that consumes CO2, which is carbon dioxide, H2O, which is water, and sunlight as food and turns it into glucose and oxygen, which is O2. As you can see here, with my very professionally made drawing, light energy, which comes from the sun, in the form of photons, hits the plant cell. Within the plant cell are chloroplasts. Within the chloroplasts are thylakoids stacked on top of each other, and that's what performs the action of photosynthesis, which is the plant cell's metabolic process to produce glucose and oxygen. Here are the chemical components of it: C6H12O6 and O2, which is used and needed by the animal cell. Within the animal cell is the mitochondrion. That's what uses these nutrients here to produce, through its metabolic process, CO2, which is carbon dioxide, and water, H2O. That process is called cellular respiration, and those components are used and needed by chloroplasts. And that's, just a beautiful cycle of energy here. One provides food for the other. Photosynthesis could be called the inverse cellular respiration because it consumes the wastes of cellular respiration and vice versa. It's a beautiful cycle of energy, equilibrium, and neither would exist without each other. And that means us too. It could also be said that the sun provides the source of all energy on Earth, and we would have neither cellular respiration nor photosynthesis without it.
Yeah, he absorbed it! I was right!
Goku, don't use any of your energy waves! They absorb energy through their hands! It will only make them stronger, understand?
You're kidding!
While Dragon Ball Z has nothing to do with photosynthesis, I wanted to exploit my creative freedom just a little bit and compare the way Android 19 absorbed Goku's Kamehameha. It's similar because the thylakoids within the chloroplast absorb photons from the sun. Now, in order for photosynthesis to happen, water absorbs into the root of the plant, and CO2 enters tiny holes in the plant leaves called stoma. This is just a zoomed in version of it, kind of cool. And the cross section of the leaf here, and here are the chloroplasts that we were talking about earlier, with the thylakoid stacks called granum inside of it. That's what performs photosynthesis. There are two main stages in photosynthesis. They are 1. The light-dependent stage, and 2. The light-independent stage, or the Calvin cycle. Here we see the light-dependent stage. The light-dependent stage starts with light energy called photons reaching chloroplasts of the plant cell, right here. Now, I want to make it clear that this is not an accurate representation of the sun's position. The sun is not inside of a stoma cell. I just want it to be known that the photons are coming from light rays from the sun outside of the plant 150,000 kilometers away from planet Earth. Okay, so a protein called photosystem 2 right here, and photosystem 1 right there hang out on the membrane of thylakoids that lie within chloroplasts right here. There's a cross section of it right there. Light energy, photons, hits photosystem 2. That's the first step, and the electrons within become excited. The source of photosystem 2's electrons comes from water, right here, H2O. That lends its electron to there. Light energy causes 2 electrons to leave the hydrogen ions of H2O present in the center of the thylakoid cell, leaving behind a 1/2 O2 ion and 2 H+ atoms. That's hydrogen right there. An additional 1/2 O2 finds another 1/2 O2 and bonds to form oxygen, O2, a waste product of photosynthesis. This exits through the thylakoid membrane, then the stroma of the chloroplast, and eventually exits through the plant's stroma to the atmosphere. This is important to us because it supplies us and all other cellular respiratory creatures oxygen we need to survive. Going back to the excited electron in photosystem 2, the excited electron gets transported across the thylakoid membrane by protein carriers within the membrane called electron transport chain, right here. So things are moving to the right in this direction towards photosystem 1. Photosystem 1 is another light-sensitive photoreceptor. As this is happening, the electron is moving across the membrane. The electron starts out with high energy and gradually gains a lower energy state while moving across the membrane. It's losing energy because hydrogen, those H+ protons, are pumped from outside of the thylakoid membrane, right here, the stroma, into the thylakoid interior, or the lumen. This builds the hydrogen concentration gradient within the thylakoid and will later be used to help produce ATP. Once photosystem 1 receives light energy, it will then take the same original electron and excites it once again. It then transfers the electron to NAPD star, right here, again moving to the right. NAPD star reductase within the thylakoid membrane to pass energy along to NAPD plus in the stroma in order to transform NAPD star and H plus into NAPDH, right here. NAPDH will later be used in the Calvin cycle. The positive hydrogen proton pressure within the thylakoid interior is now pumped through the membrane protein called ATP synthase, right here, to the stroma or exterior of the thylakoid. So from in here to the outside. To sum up the light-dependent stage, ATP and NAPDH are produced to be used in the Calvin cycle, and O2 is a byproduct. These products are made possible by energy from light and electrons supplied from the H2O breaking down, way back here. Moving on. Stage 2, the independent light stage, or the Calvin cycle. This occurs within the stroma of the chloroplast. I just wanted to comment that I did not draw this up while I did make the previous drawing, and the first one, I took this image from thinglink.com. The carbon fixation phase begins. Phase 1. To start the cycle, ribulose bisphosphate, RUBP, which is a 5-carbon molecule, is added to this 1 carbon dioxide molecule that is coming from the stroma. An enzyme called Rubisco, right here, is responsible for joining of these 2 molecules. Boom. Immediately after these molecules join, they split to form 2,3 phosphoglycerate molecules, right here and right here. Phase 2, the reduction phase, begins. The ATP and NADPH from the previous stage are now used as energy sources from the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. The ATP, right here, gives its 1 phosphate molecule to the 3-phosphoglycerate molecule, right here. The NADPH, right here, gives its hydrogen molecule to the 3-phosphoglycerate molecule, finally forming glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, or GP3. GP3 is used by the plant to form whatever it needs to prosper, whether it be food sources for itself, glucose, starches, carbohydrates, or cellulose. Branching off here to the central metabolic pathways. Boom. GP3 is also used to form ribulose 5-phosphate. Ribulose 5-phosphate, with the use of ATP, is used to regenerate ribulose bisphosphate, thus completing the Calvin cycle. The regeneration phase begins. However, we need 5 GP3s to regenerate 3 RUBPs where we started from, all the way back here. In order for this to happen, the Calvin cycle must run through 6 times to make enough GP3. This consumes a total of 6 molecules of CO2, 6 molecules of NADPH, and 9 molecules of ATP. Of the 6 G3P molecules, 5 of them are consumed back into the cycle to form ribulose bisphosphate, and 1 GP3 molecule is left for the plant as a glucose source with a chemical composition of C6H12O6. Now for my side notes. When ATP is used as an energy source, we can see here that it becomes ADP when a single phosphate group is broken away from it. Similarly, NADPH transforms into NADP+ when that hydrogen bond is broken. Things that affect photosynthesis are type of light, variations in temperature, abundance or lack of CO2, and water available. Chlorophyll, which is a pigment within the chloroplasts, absorbs green light the least. Chlorophyll A absorbs the light colors violet and orange the most, while chlorophyll B absorbs mostly blue and yellow. Most plants appear green because they actually reflect green. If a plant gets too hot, it will struggle to perform photosynthesis. It will close its guard cell that blocks off the stroma, preventing CO2 from entering and water leaving the cell. These guard cells are just within the stoma. Plants in hot environments have adapted to survive by obtaining light energy during the day and opening up their stoma before the light-independent stage of photosynthesis during the night. A lack of CO2 will cause the light-independent stage to instead perform photorespiration. The cell will instead use O2 in the Calvin cycle and make a useless product that the cell has to break down. This means that G3P production is inhibited and therefore the glucose molecule cannot be formed to support the plant. A lack of water will also affect the plant. First, the vacuoles right here in the plant will not be filled and will not exert a positive membrane pressure that it likes to have. This will cause the plant to wilt. Secondly, the plant tries to conserve water by again closing its guard cell, blocking its stoma, and ultimately slowing the photosynthesis process. And there you have it. That's it. That's all I know about photosynthesis, and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.